In the whimsical kingdom of Eldoria, there lived a wizard named Alistair. Now, Alistair had all the trappings of a great sorcerer: a tall, pointy hat, a magnificent beard that reached his belt, and a tower filled with dusty spellbooks and bubbling cauldrons. There was just one tiny problem. Alistair couldn't cast a single spell. Not a spark, not a puff of smoke. Nothing. He'd wave his wand, shout impressive-sounding gibberish like Flibbertigibbet Maximus, and absolutely nothing would happen. It was, to put it mildly, embarrassing. He had spent his entire inheritance on wizarding school, only to graduate with a certificate that basically said he tried. For years, Alistair lived a quiet, magic-free life, mostly just brewing herbal teas and trying to convince the local townsfolk he was a minimalist wizard. He'd tell them true power is in restraint, while secretly seething with magical inadequacy. His only companion was a grumpy ginger cat named Marmalade, who seemed to judge Alistair's every failed incantation with a disappointed stare. Then, one particularly frustrating Tuesday, everything changed. Alistair was trying a simple levitation spell on a feather. He waved his wand, chanted the words, and nothing. The feather remained stubbornly on his desk. In a fit of pique, he threw the useless wand onto his armchair. The moment the wood touched the fabric, the armchair sprouted wings and flew out the window, circling the town square like a confused, overstuffed pigeon. Alistair just stared, mouth agape. That wasn't supposed to happen. He soon discovered a horrifying new reality. While he couldn't cast spells intentionally, anything he touched with a strong emotion behind it would erupt into pure chaotic magic. One morning, feeling particularly grumpy before his morning tea, he slammed his hand on the kitchen table. The table instantly transformed into a giant, wobbly stack of pancakes, dripping with syrup. It was delicious, but also deeply unsettling. His life became a minefield of accidental enchantment. One day, while affectionately stroking Marmalade, he was overcome with a wave of love for his furry friend. Poof! Marmalade inflated into a giant, orange, cat-shaped balloon, floating gently against the ceiling, looking utterly bewildered. Alistair spent the rest of the day frantically trying to coax him down with a broom, all while apologizing profusely. Eventually, a moment of sheer panic caused the broom to turn into a ladder made of licorice, which he then used to rescue his buoyant pet. The kingdom of Eldoria, however, saw things differently. They didn't see a clumsy, magically incontinent wizard. They saw a hero. When a terrible drought threatened the crops, Alistair, in a moment of deep despair, kicked a pebble by the riverbed. The pebble skipped across the water and created a swirling, shimmering rainbow tornado that sucked up water and gently rained it down over all the fields, saving the harvest. The townspeople cheered. Alistair just face-palmed. He hadn't meant to do that. He was just having a bad day. Then came the dragon. A real, honest-goodness, fire-breathing menace had taken up residence in the mountains, demanding tribute. The king, having heard tales of Alistair's unconventional but effective magic, summoned him to the castle. Alistair tried to explain. Your Majesty, I can't control it. I just get emotional and things happen. The king just patted him on the back. Nonsense, my dear boy. Humility is a fine trait in a hero. Now go get that dragon. Dragged to the dragon's lair, Alistair was terrified. He stood before the massive, scaly beast, trembling in his boots. The dragon let out a mighty roar, a plume of fire scorching the rocks near his feet. Alistair, filled with pure, unadulterated terror, did the only thing he could think of. He tripped over his own robes and fell flat on his face, his hand slapping against the cold cave floor. The moment his palm hit the stone, the entire cave floor transformed. It became a giant, spring-loaded, bouncy castle. The dragon, who had been mid-charge, was suddenly launched into the air, bouncing helplessly up and down like a child at a birthday party. It looked less like a fearsome beast and more like a confused, scaly beach ball. Each bounce was accompanied by a puff of confused smoke instead of fire. The dragon was so disoriented and, frankly, humiliated that it simply gave up, bounced its way out of the cave, and flew off towards a less bouncy kingdom. Alistair was carried back to the castle on the shoulders of cheering knights. He was hailed as Alistair the Bouncy, the greatest wizard in the land. He was given a medal, a new tower, this one with reinforced non-spontaneous furniture, a lifetime supply of royal jelly. Life didn't get any less chaotic. He once sneezed and turned the royal guard's armor into fluffy bunny costumes. During a moment of boredom at a royal banquet, he tapped his spoon on his plate, and all the food began to sing opera. But he was starting to get the hang of it. He learned that a moment of calm focus could sometimes prevent a teapot from growing legs and running away. He even started experimenting, trying to channel his emotions. A little bit of joy made flowers bloom instantly. A touch of annoyance was perfect for unscrewing a tight jar lid. He never became a traditional wizard. He never learned to cast a proper fireball or a textbook teleportation spell. His magic remained a wild, untamable force tied directly to his heart. But Alistair, the wizard who hated magic, slowly came to realize that maybe, just maybe, the most powerful magic of all wasn't about perfect incantations or ancient rituals.